While I have talked extensively about budget and value-packed firearms, there are certainly those that, well, will make your eyes water the second you lay eyes on the price tag. Some of them can cost even more than a car or even a house. But do you get something really special from buying a gun that expensive? As the Joker said, it's not about the money. It's about sending a message. You're not getting anything particularly special that justifies the price tag. However, it makes for a statement piece. The same can be said for pretty much every other extremely expensive item. As I like to put it, it's a practical way to demonstrate your net worth. Most of the guns with such a steep price are rare, custom-made, or have special or unique historical significance. In this video, I'm going after the first group. These guns are difficult to put a price tag on because they're about as rare as unicorns. The price tags you see my putting up here are just a rough estimate at best, although the actual price for this thing should be in the same ballpark. Let's take a look at some of these obscenely pricey firearms. The Titanium Gold Desert Eagle, $5,000 to $7,000. You see the Desert Eagle everywhere, from movies to video games. In fact, the latter community just calls the thing the Deagle for short. It's a pistol characterized by its massive frame and powerful recoil. It was a result of the collaboration between Magnum Research and Israeli military industries. The Desert Eagle is a gas-operated pistol that can be had in .50 Action Express, .44 Magnum, and .357 Magnum. Among all the Desert Eagles produced, some come with titanium gold finishes. There are roughly only a few hundred of them out there, so the chance of you stumbling onto one out there is slim, to say the least. As if the rarity doesn't drive the price up enough, the gun is chambered in .440 Core Bond cartridge, which is also pretty rare to find. It's basically a neck-down 50 AE cartridge to .44 caliber. What you get is around the size of a .44 Magnum, but is more powerful than that and the 50 AE, without the nasty recoil. What made the Golden Desert Eagle so rare is partially thanks to the cartridge itself. It never really caught on, and so very few of these shiny Deagles were produced. Many gun collectors are willing to pay good money to get their hands on one of these. The Beretta M82A1 in .50 BMG, $8,000 to $9,000. Designed by Ronnie Barrett in the 1980s, the M82A1 was intended to be a long-range sniper rifle that utilizes the power of the .50 BMG. The U.S. military actually adopted this rifle and dubbed it the M107, and it saw some action in Iraq and Afghanistan. A good sniper can turn this into a very deadly weapon, as it can hit targets beyond 2,000 meters. Despite the massive caliber, the recoil is actually manageable because the gun itself is also pretty hefty, and it comes with a muzzle brake. It's over 29 pounds, although that has not stopped people from lugging it around on a hug hunt. It's still in production today, although it is usually the U.S. Army that can afford it. It is still a tad too expensive and difficult to get your hands on. The Krieghoff Trumpf drilling, $10,000 to $15,000. The drilling is derived from the word drei, which means three in German. A glance at this shotgun and you will see why they called it that. This shotgun has 3 barrels, 2 for shotgun shells and 1 for rifle cartridges. In short, you're carrying a shotgun and a rifle in a single package, which brings many advantages. Simply put, you can take out this firearm into the field and it would be equipped to take on any wild game. This gun is basically a Swiss Army knife in the gun world. The idea caught on, and many gun manufacturers started producing their own drillings over the years. In fact, there are plenty of variations out there. The most common one comes with 2 shotgun barrels, usually chambered for either 12 or 16 gauge, with a rifle barrel mounted on the other side. The rifle barrel is usually seen chambered in 6 by 57 millimeters, 7 by 57 millimeters, 30-06 Springfield, or 9.3 by 74 millimeter. There are other variations that come with 2 rifle barrels and a single shotgun barrel as well. And the manufacturer didn't just weld 3 barrels together, shove them into a wooden stock, and called it a finished product. The craftsmanship is exceptional, and the gun is simply beautiful. To say anything less is slander. In terms of performance, it's reliable and accurate as well. For this reason, the gun is going to cost you a pretty penny. The Sharps Model 1874 Creedmoor, $12,000 to $15,000. During the height of buffalo hunting back in the 1870s, the Sharps Rifle Company cranked out many extremely accurate rifles. They were chambered in large-bore cartridges. This long-barreled single-shot breech-loaded rifle in the right hands can slap big-game animals from very long range. It quickly gained a reputation as one of the most accurate rifles for long-distance hunting at its time. Nowadays, the sharp rifle resurged in popularity thanks in part to the movie Quigley Down Under. Various firearm manufacturers, such as Shiloh Rifle Manufacturing Company, started pushing out replicas of this venerable model 1874. The original one, especially in good condition, will be worth a fair bit. However, if you want a taste of what it was like shooting this thing, you might have to settle for a replica. The Pedersen self-loading rifle in .276 Pedersen, $20,000 to $25,000. This semi-auto rifle was developed by John Pedersen in the late 1920s. He developed it alongside a cartridge when the U.S. Army was looking to replace their 1903 Springfield. Unfortunately, neither the cartridge nor the rifle was adopted. However, the Marine Corps and the Army did adopt the M1 Garand, which took many design features from the Pedersen self-loading rifle. A fun fact, Garand used to be chambered in .276 Pedersen. The Army was just about to adopt the cartridge, but they changed their mind and decided to instead alter the Garand to take the .30-06 Springfield instead. The 1903 Springfield and .30-03 Springfield, $25,000 plus. No, that wasn't a typo. There are 1903 Springfields that are chambered in .30-03 instead of .30-06 we used to know. The last two digits differ because of the year they were adopted. Both used .30 caliber bullets, but the .30-03 was adopted in 1903, and the .30-06 was adopted in 1906. Here, another question comes to mind. It's evident that the 1903 Springfield was created alongside the .30-03, as both were adopted in 1903. Then how come the rifle fires a cartridge that was not introduced until 3 years after? For that, we need to take a look at the cartridge itself. You see, the .30-03 round fired a 220-grain round-nosed bullet capable of achieving up to 2,200 feet per second. Sadly, the cartridge was inadequate. It was outclassed by other cartridges in Europe that utilized Spitzer or pointed bullets, such as 7mm Mauser. So, they came up with a new cartridge that fired a high-velocity 150-grain pointed bullet instead. When was that adopted? That's right, in 1906. The .30-06 Springfield was much better than the .30-03, and so many 1903 Springfield rifles were modified to shoot the .30-06 instead. You might be wondering, since both cartridges are .30 caliber, can the Springfield take both? Yes and no. While you can slap a .30-06 cartridge into an unmodified 1903 Springfield and it would still shoot, it would not shoot very accurately. This is why the modification was needed. That said, not all the 1903 Springfield rifles were modified to take the newer cartridge. There's still a handful of these rifles chambered at .30-03, and I believe they can fetch quite a high price. The Chapeese Savannah double rifle in .416 Rigby, $28,000 to $30,000. Any hunter who wants to go after dangerous wild game animals knows that a double rifle is indispensable. And so in the 1800s, the Chapeese Savannah double rifle was developed for European hunters trying their luck in Africa and Asia. A double rifle gives you the ability to put down another shot without needing to work the action. It saves you a bit of time, which might just save your life if you happen to get yourself into a pickle. Double rifles were the best tool if you plan to hunt some Cape buffalo. What makes double rifles expensive is the engineering required. Both barrels needed to hit exactly the same spot at a certain range. That and the fact that they usually come with elaborate engraving means that only the wealthiest hunters can afford them. The Winchester 1886 and 5110 Winchester, $50,000 to $80,000. Another beloved model among gun collectors, the 1886 was a lever-action rifle that looked right at home in a cowboy movie. When Winchester pushed out the model 1886, it quickly rose in popularity. Other than the fact that it looked absolutely beautiful, its action was strong enough that it could handle many hard-hitting cartridges in its time, such as the 5110 Winchester. So what made it so rare if it was so popular? It comes down to the cartridge. The model 1886 can be had in many chamberings, but finding one in the 5110 Winchester is going to be a challenge. There aren't many out there that are still in good condition, so it's going to be expensive. The Beretta Imperiale Monte Carlo shotgun, $106,800. Nope, your eyes do not deceive you. This thing costs over $100,000. Beretta is known for their M9, which saw extensive use in the U.S. military for a time. But before that, they also had some excellent shotguns. This semi-auto double-barreled shotgun is known as one of the best. and it's often seen in the hands of Olympic champions in trap and skeet. The bottom line is this: if it's good enough for Olympic champions, it is more than good enough for you. The only problem is the price tag. This 12 gauge is going to tear a larger hole in your wallet than that in your target. However, you are getting what you paid for. Other than its outstanding performance, you get an elaborate engraving and craftsmanship fit for a champion. The Holland and Holland Royal Deluxe Double Rifle, $228,000 plus. And finally, we have the most expensive gun on the list, the Holland and Holland Royal Deluxe Double Rifle. It's basically the Rolls-Royce of guns in more ways than one. All of them are made by hand, and only master gun makers would be offered the privilege of working on this thing. If the advertisements are to be believed, then it takes 850 hours of work to produce a single unit. And it's not hard to see why. The gun features meticulous inlaid designs, and it's also accurate and reliable to boot. Not to mention, individual rifles are tailored for the shooter, so they will point just the way you like it. While I would not take this out into the field, since they would lower its value with use, the Royal can be had in heavy-hitting cartridges such as 577 Nitro, 500, or 470. These will be enough to convince an angry elephant or buffalo that charging you might not be worth it. Holland and Holland makes really expensive and excellent firearms, and their clients range from famous hunters to a U.S. president and members of the British royal family. If you somehow manage to get your hands on the Royal, it'll be an amazing heirloom. And there you have it. This is my top 10 picks for obscenely expensive guns money can buy. Of course, you do not need any of these to have fun at the range or in the field. There are many value-packed and budget options out there that will serve you well. If you are interested in those, check out our previous videos. I'm sure you'll find something that might interest you, as we have videos about handguns all the way to rifles for virtually every application. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.